Hello, I'm Seerath, and today I'm here to discuss custom tasks. Custom tasks give us the ability to manipulate the hit before it leaves the website, right? Before going into the detail of custom task, we will discuss that what is actually a task and what are the different types of tasks that are available to us, right? We will also see that how can we apply PII filtering. So, first of all, let us discuss what are tasks, right? So, all the steps that the analytics library takes after we make the decision to send a hit to Google Analytics are classified as tasks. So, this is the list of tasks and it is performed in the same order, right? Like custom task, preview task, check protocol, validation, check storage, history import, sampler, build hit, send hit, timing, and display feature. Now let us understand each one of them. So the first one is a custom task. Now this one does not have its own functionality, right? We have to provide the code to create its behavior. So by default, it does not do anything. Then we have preview task. So as we open a new tab, we see that there is small thumbnail icons that are there, right? So this preview task abort the request if it is just being rendered as the top site, right? If it is just the thumbnail, then preview task abort the request for that. Then we have a task named check protocol task. So this task abort the request if the page protocol is not HTTP or HTTPS. Let's say that if you are using from your local browser, local system, like you're using the file, and in that case, it will abort the request because the protocol will not be HTTP or HTTPS, right? If we still want to collect the traffic from the local system, we can set this check protocol task as null. So it will disable this, right? Then we have validation task, which basically checks that if all the validation is fulfilled or not, and if there is some missing fields or if there is some invalid information, then the request is aborted. Next up, we have check storage task. Now, this aborts the request if the tracker is configured to use the cookies, but the user's browser has cookies disabled. So basically, the cookies on the browser is disabled, right? Next, we have history import task. So this imports the information from ga.js to preserve the visitor history when the site migrates to Universal Analytics. So this is its function that it imports the information from GA when the site migrates to Universal Analytics. Then we have a sampler task. So basically, it samples out the visitor. It excludes the visitor based on the sample rate settings, right? Next, we have build hit task. So this builds a measurement protocol request and store it in the hit payload. So a request is built and stored inside the field of hit payload. Next, we have very important send hit task. So this basically sends the hit to Google Analytics. So it transmits the measurement protocol stored in the hit payload. So whatever information was stored in the hit payload is sent to Google Analytics servers. Then we have two more, which first is a timing task, which automatically generates a speed timing hit based on our site's speed sample rate. Then we have display feature task, which sets in the additional hit if display feature is enabled. So these are the few tasks that are performed. Like when we decide that, okay, we want to send data to Google Analytics, these are the few tasks in order that are performed before. So our main focus can be send hit task and custom task. We will see how can we create code for custom task. But first, let's understand these tasks first, right? Let's go to Google Tag Manager and click preview. Click connect. Now we have our website open in front of us, right? So let's go to inspect. Let's minimize this. Yeah, let's go to console. So first of all, let us create a tracking object. GA. Create. Let's say UA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dash 1. I'm not specifying the name, so it will take a default name. It is creating a new tracker with T0, right? Now, let's define functions for our tasks here, right? We can do that by simply saying set and then by specifying check protocol task. So we want to define a function for this task, right? Now let's just say function. And inside it, let's just simply console log check protocol task. So this basic check protocol task has a function by default. If we are defining it in this way, then we are overwriting its previous behavior, right? So let's click enter. Yeah, so we are just doing it so that we can observe in the console the sequence, right? So let's see, like now we have defined check protocol task. Let's now define storage task. And in the function, let's say check storage task. So it will basically first set the check storage task to this function, and the function is doing nothing. It is just displaying a statement in the log, right? So let's hit enter. Now let's set for send hit task. Send hit task. Let's catch a parameter. Model. This is basically from the task view that we have catched it. And inside the function, let's say console.log and say model.get. And let's specify the hit payload here. Hit payload, right? Now we have defined few tasks on our own, like they were already defined, but we defined our own behavior for them. The check protocol task, the check storage task, and the send hit task, right? Now let's try and send a hit. Let's just say that send page view. Click enter. Now we see that first check protocol task was executed, then check storage task was executed, then we have our payload, hit payload here, right? So this is how we can override the existing functionality with our own functions, but basically these are not performing any functionality now. We have just displayed some statements in the console, right? So if the user's cookie are disabled, then we can still send the request But in that case, we will have to set check storage task as null. So as check storage task, just like if we go here and see that check storage task abort the request if the user's browser cookies has been disabled. So we can overcome this by setting this as null, right? So now we have discussed about various tasks, and we have also seen that how can we override their default behavior. So now let's discuss custom task in detail, right? So custom task is very special, but it does not have any functionality of its own. We can use it to manipulate the model object, right? So first of all, let's just refresh it and we will see an example that how can we create a custom task, right? We'll wait for it to load. Okay, so now we will say that first let's create a tracking object. Create yes. And next, let's just create a custom task, right? So we'll write GA, then we'll say set, then we'll say custom task. Now we will specify a function here. We'll catch the model object. We'll just simply say model dot set dimension 5. So we want to set this dimension and we want to set it with, let's say, the client ID that we have in model. So we have the most updated client ID for this request in the model. So we are getting it from there, client ID, right? Let's hit enter and let's just send a hit again. Yeah. So if we, okay, our dimension is missing here. Why is that? Yeah, because we made an error. We made a spelling error. Let's just run that command again. Custom task. Now let's send hit. Yes, now we can see that client ID is stored in the dimension, right? So this is how we can create a custom task, but this is just a console, right? If we refresh the page, this all will be gone. So let's go to our Google Tag Manager and understand in detail that how can we create a variable for the same. So in the variable, let's scroll down and here we have a variable named custom task. So there is some code inside it. First of all, this is of type custom JavaScript, right? So there is a function. So what this function is doing, we have just, to make it more understandable, we have catched the parameter as custom task model. Then we say that we created a variable original send hit task, right? And we are storing the custom task send hit task in this. Then we are saying that we want to set the custom task send hit. So first of all, we have stored the original send hit task into this variable, right? Now we are modifying the send hit and we are saying that replace it with this function. And what is this function doing? Again, catching the model parameter. Then we say that, okay, first of all, before anything that we modify, send the original send hit, right? So we are basically saying that original send hit task, send hit task model. So we are sending the original send hit. Then we are saying that we created a var for hit payload, right? And we are saying that we want to get the hit payload from this, right? So we are saying send hit task model dot get hit payload. Then we are modifying it. So what we are doing is in this variable, we are replacing this ID with this ID, right? And now we want the send hit task model to reflect the changes. So we are setting it as this. And now we are sending this again. So basically this will make two requests, right? One to this container, another to this one. So now this is the code. Let's go to the preview mode and understand how is it working. Get preview. One more thing to keep in mind is that after setting the variable, we will have to come here and inside this universal analytics tab, we will have to enable this overriding settings and specify the tracking ID, right? We'll also have to set up a field such named as custom tasks. And in the value, we have just selected the variable that we just created, right? So we enabled this overriding feature and we gave a ID and a custom task field name. So sometimes this might not be available to us in the suggestion, but that's okay. We can just type it out, right? So we have done this setting as well. Now let us go to preview. Hit continue. Let's go to our website here. Let's close this once. This is loaded. Now let us go to inspect, but this time instead of console, let us go to the network to understand the request more clearly. Here, give a minute. Why is the request not showing? Let's just refresh it. Right. So now let's search for RID. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once it loads, it should be available here. Yeah, so it's available. Let's click it. And in the payload, if we go and see, so we have the ID as UA12345-1. So this has sent the data to this one. But if we go and check, so we also have UA123452. So this is exactly what we did in our custom task, that we sent the data twice, right? But if we observe that all the other payload will be exactly same, right? If I click this and if I observe that it's page view and all these things, and if I go here, so it will also reflect the exact same thing because we did not change anything except for this ID, right? So we created a custom task and it is working properly. Now we have something called as a custom task builder. It is a very great tool that is given to us by Simo Abaha. And here we can click and select the features that we want to include. Like we want the client ID as custom dimension, we want hit type as custom dimension, we want payload length as custom dimension. Then let's say we want copy hits to multiple properties. We want to remove PIIs from hits. And there are many more options, right? If we scroll down, we have the entire code generated. We have two options, either to copy it to clipboard or copy it to clipboard for GTM. So this will remove the unwanted code if there is any. So let's go to Google Tag Manager. And here, inside the variables, if we scroll down, then I have created this custom JavaScript variable. Basically, I named it custom task builder. So this was the code that we copied from there. And if we see, up after this, it is written that do not edit anything beyond this. So it is setting some variables, client ID index, hit type index, payload length index. So I just set it to 150, 151, and 152. Then for the duplicate hits to tracking IDs, we have given UA 12345-1, UA 12345-2, UA 12345-3. And here we have a variable named PII regex. So what is it doing is that it is detecting that if an email is passed as the parameter, and it will reduct that, right? So we have created this. The variable is of type custom JavaScript. And there is all this code here that we took help from Simovaha custom task builder, right? So now if we come back, let's close this. Now in the GA cross domain, let's just set up our field. Let's add custom task, and let's input the variable that we created, CJ custom task builder, right? Now let's save this. And let's go to our tag and remove it from there, right? Scroll down to Universal Analytics tab. Let's just uncheck this. Right, so let's save it. Now let's hit preview. So basically we created a variable, and then we did some settings in GA cross domain variable, which was the Google Analytics setting variable. And now we are going to preview to find that whether it is working properly or not. So let's go here in the network. Let's just input some parameter here, right? Let's say email is equals to someone @gmail. Let's hit enter. Yeah, so we have the requests. Let's see the payload. We see that the email is redacted, like it's not working. And if we go down, we see the ID as 123452, and the first one will be 123453. I think this will be the first. Yeah, 123451, right? And the email ID is being filtered. So we filtered the PII, and yeah, so this is how we use this tool, custom task builder, and created our own custom task and send it to multiple IDs, right? And we also observe that how can we filter a PII, right? So this was all about custom task. Thank you.